This hearing will come to order. Thank you all for coming. The committee meets this morning to discuss a topic that is of great interest to every member of this panel. We're here to talk about defense innovation. We must change the way the Pentagon does business. Otherwise, there's no way we can maintain deterrence, particularly against China. Today, we'll hear from three experts. Shyam Sankar serves as the Chief Technology Officer at Planeteer, which has done important work for the military. Mr. Sankar has published widely on innovation, and we look forward to hearing his ideas today. We'll also hear from Nate Diller, who has worked at both the Department of Defense and the House Appropriations Committee, where I previously worked in another life. Today, Mr. Diller is the CEO of Divergent Technologies, which is seeking to make revolutionary changes in manufacturing, and we need revolutionary changes in DoD. And finally, James Gertz is with us today. In addition to having one of the coolest nicknames around, Hondo, he has ably and successfully served this country as the acquisition executive for both SOCOM and the Navy. So thank you all for being here to talk about innovation. The past few years have been marked by some success in innovation improvements, but we have much more work to do. Most of our work is actually ahead of us in this regard. I believe we're poised to go faster and further than we have thus far. I'm optimistic that many of my colleagues' ideas for improvements and reform will have an enthusiastic reception in this new Pentagon team. I appreciate my friend, Ranking Member Reed, for holding a hearing in the previous Congress on the Planning, Programming, Budgeting, and Execution Reform Commission. I expect we can continue to make progress in this new Congress. As a matter of fact, Mr. Reed and my colleagues, we need a game changer, and we need it right now. The committee took steps last year to remove unnecessary steps from the acquisition process and get defense innovators more powerful hiring authorities. We can and should continue on that positive trajectory. I recently released the Forged Act and published this white paper entitled Restoring Freedom's Forge, America's Innovation Unleashed. And I must say, I appreciate the positive comments and response that we've heard from industry and from government officials. The white paper lays out in specific detail my plan to implement smart spending practices at DoD. The Forged Act proposes the most comprehensive set of budgeting and acquisition reforms in decades. It focuses on 5 areas. First, we must cut the red tape that burdens our defense workforce. Our regulations are full of outdated and excessive compliance requirements. Addressing this is exactly the type of work that DOGE is contemplating, and I hope we can make progress in this area. Contracting regulations total more than 6,000 pages. Financial regulations add up to more than 7,000 pages. I'm interested to hear our witnesses address how this committee can reduce the statutory and regulatory burdens even as we retain the core elements of good policy. Second, we should harness one of our nation's core advantages, our world-class tech sector, which is built by American entrepreneurial spirit. Government unique requirements have made it nearly impossible for commercial companies and startups to do business with the Department of Defense. We need to reward commercial innovation by making it possible for innovative companies to work with the Pentagon. Third, we must create competitive pressure by rapidly qualifying new suppliers to help build our weapon systems. More than 20,000 suppliers have exited the Navy's shipbuilding industrial base in the past 20 years. And that's just the Navy's industrial base. 20,000 suppliers gone. I hope our witnesses will address how we can lower barriers to second sources and how we can adopt technologies like 3D printing, which can dramatically reduce costs and expedite production schedules. Fourth, we must enable senior officials to manage programs by reducing the bureaucracy's ability to veto their decisions. A typical acquisition must satisfy nearly 50 documentation requirements. and get 50 external sign-offs. We need to be careful about the taxpayers' money, but that is excessive. We need to give program managers all of the tools they need to success while retaining an appropriate level of checks and balances. Finally, we should modernize the defense budget process by allowing money to move as fast as technologies and threats change. It currently takes at least 2 years to request and receive funding. Meanwhile, the commercial sector deploys new generations of technologies in less than 2 years, and the Pentagon is continually lagging behind. We cannot keep conducting business as usual. I repeat, we need a game changer in this regard, and we need it now, because the United States is entering the most dangerous period we've faced since World War II. Our adversaries are rapidly innovating and leveraging commercial technologies. In response, we must expand our capacity to produce and sustain high-end weapons like ships, aircraft, and missiles. At the same time, we must adopt autonomous, adaptive, and networked or swarming systems. This is not an either-or effort. We must produce traditional and innovative systems quickly and at the scale of relevance. Doing so will ensure that we can deter our adversaries from taking action against us and our interests. In other words, peace through strength. I look forward to discussing those initiatives and more with our witnesses. And again, I welcome all three of them to our hearing, and I recognize my friend, Ranking Member Reed, for his remarks.